Well, now that was embarrassing. This is a problem when you don't double check everything before you begin. Mic was disabled. I think it happened when the computer was put to sleep last night. Sometimes it wakes up and it doesn't want to cooperate, so... Well, anyway. Probably for the best, I was a little tongue-tied to begin with, so we are going to do take 2. Greetings, one and all. These are our Community Game Fridays. We do this in order for people that are part of our Discord community to be able to jump in and participate at will. Now, we will do games during the evenings as well. We typically are evening and nighttime streams. But during the daytime is when a lot of people are more available to participate rather than in the middle of the night, because for me, it's evening time. For most everybody else, it's the early morning hours. So we shake things up on Friday. We add in some extra opportunities for people to participate in our community games on Fridays. But you have to be a part of the Discord. If you're not part of the Discord, then you have to join, which you will find links around on the different streaming platforms that we're on, which we are on 3. We are on Rumble, Twitch, and YouTube. Now, all 3 of those are a relatively new experience for us. We have not been streaming on those platforms all simultaneously and only began to do so. But if you want to participate, you have to look at the link that gets posted every few minutes to join the Discord. Now, if you're not a part of it and want to participate, and I know who you are, then we can make an exception. We typically don't bring in people that are brand new, that I have no history with, because that can be a little bit of a gamble. And while we've personally not had any problems with that, I have seen streams where that does become a problem. So we're just trying to avoid that. But we still want to have you around if you are somebody who is civil-like and wants to participate. And now that's the big catch. It throws a lot of people for a loop, actually. We are a civil community, meaning that we don't cuss each other out. We don't try and find all these different ways to shame one another. Now, some people may think that, well, that's part of the fun of gaming. And I would respectfully disagree. I have seen it tear people apart. I've seen it be a point of humiliation, of a sort of humiliation ritual. And it's very bad for the average person. Oh, well, sticks and stones may break my bones, but words will never hurt me. Uh-huh. Sure. You tell yourself that. I have seen it destroy lives. See, the Bible tells us that the tongue is our most dangerous and wicked part of our body. It is through our tongue that we will tear each other down. We will say things that have such immense consequences that's kind of hard to even fathom what sort of eternal consequences our tongue will have. So, as such, we try and take the high road. We want to try and be civil to one another because we don't know where somebody is in their life journey. They may be perfectly fine and they don't see any problem with having some ribbing that takes place. Their life might also be falling apart and you don't know it. And you won't know it until somebody tells you. But a lot of people won't, especially nowadays, especially when it's kind of a culture of ribbing that takes place. This must be what Navy SEAL training is like. Oof. Add that to our loss counter. Now, I have mentioned multiple times on these streams the importance of understanding the power of one's tongue. Now, I've been on the receiving end of it on the occasion, and I can say safely that it is life-altering, the things that can be said. Which definitely raises a lot of questions. If it is life-altering, what do our words have the potential to do for the people that we speak to? Did you know that some people in this world can go back and find a single word that set them off on a path in this life? A single word that either built them up or tore them down. That's why we focus so much on civility. Because when you are so willing to harass somebody, you don't know if that word that you give might be the catalyst for someone going down a certain path. And you'd rather want them to take a good word and let that influence them than rather a bad one. Now, you could claim, like I said earlier about, well, sticks and stones break through your bones, but words will never hurt you. And I think that is one of the biggest lies we were taught as kids. In fact, I don't know anybody in the under the age of 15 or 20 that actually believes that. Those were words that our grandparents and parents' generation, and even my generation, were saying and telling one another. I've yet to actually see one person, especially those who taught such things, to actually live by it. I have seen people who would say sticks and stones may break my bones, but words will never hurt me, and they blow a gasket over a single word that is said to them. Words do hurt. Words do have meaning. That's why we are civil in our gaming, because we don't know if our words are going to hurt somebody in a detrimental way. And as such, we want the common courtesy of someone treating us in a positive way. Because you never know. Never know. You might be the most important person in somebody else's life. Would you rather be known for somebody who inspired, or somebody who was a nuisance and untouchable, like that guy? Oh. Hey there, bot. I'm certain that a lot of people would probably take issue with that sort of worldview that I've been given about civility and needing to maintain ourselves in gaming. A lot of people I know would probably ridicule me for wanting to do gaming, period, with people. But you know what? I think we need to go back to basics. That's one of the reasons why I kind of like the fact that we get the chance to do community gaming. It gives us a chance to have a time of discussion, a time of casual gaming, where people are not losing their heads over the least little thing. Let's try a little canyon here. By the way, be sure to mention if there's any audio problems. I think I fixed the problems from earlier, but there could still be issues. Oof. I had a feeling that was going to happen. I'm gonna win. Probably not, because I think you're a bot. Whoa. I mean, attacking a tree like that is a little strange, honestly. Fortnite flavor. Is that the flavor of the week? We need to swap out for a car anyway. Let me double check the rumble side. Something glitched over there. Okay, never mind. It's still good. Everything went black on that screen. I guess that must be another a new power saving feature that they have. Irashimase. I think that's what you say. Ah, the bird box. What you're supposed to have during Christmas time, apparently, in Japan. So a couple of years ago, I got a chance to see what it was like to be uncivil in a community, and I saw as someone who claimed to be an upstanding, respectable sort of fella, who then proceeded to say some of the most awful, depraved sort of things. And he thought himself quite funny for doing so. Now, people laughed at him. They found all sorts of enjoyment in the way that he was behaving. People were specifically trying to goad him into being even more outlandish, more inappropriate. And what ended up happening is he actually became a father. How do you think that flew with his wife? How do you think that flew with his kid? Do you think he wanted to put on a good example for his kid? Yeah. But it's a problem. He spent all his time trying to be trendy, trying to be cool, trying to be edgy. And now here he was, being faced with the reality that his life up until that point was not something he wanted his kid to imitate. Oh wow, that's quite the way that he dodged that. No! So he had spent so much time being edgy and inappropriate that when push came to shove, he was not the man that he wanted his son to imitate. And he got nervous. And you gotta wonder, in what ways will you and me, if we live our life in an inappropriate manner, will suddenly find ourselves faced with the reality that we have become someone of poor reputation, someone who we don't want to imitate, someone that we don't want to even be around. A lot of men that I know in their older age start to hate themselves because they are not the sort of man that they wish that they were. Oof. How do people keep hitting me inside of the vehicle? Because I've not been able to do that. Must be a feature that either people are exploiting or it... Let me see. Okay, so it is the pickaxe. It is a new feature. Or newer feature. Interesting. Being someone that we want to imitate. A lot of people have taken to wanting to imitate a lot of famous folk, which is a problem because famous people don't tend to have very good morals. There's very few exceptions, but you'll notice those people don't usually rank very high on the list of people that they want to try and imitate for whatever reason. So if you spend your whole life learning how to be inappropriate, learning how to be edgy, can you change that on a dime? No. I've seen people, and it's like they have spent their whole life sitting on their sitting in a chair, never once learning how to exercise. And then you go out and say, hey, come on, let's go play some football. How do you think they're going to fare? They're going to break. Their bones are going to be weak. Their stamina is going to be gone after 5 seconds. Sometimes literally. The moment that they receive any sort of injury, they're going to be bruised and probably bleeding. If they fall, it will be a broken bone. So, if you spend all your time being uncivil, I don't think that you can change on a dime. It takes a long time. It takes kind of like you need like a regiment of training to get to the point that you can actually feel like you're making headway. But we all need to, because we all can benefit from being more civil. And once you start to realize the way that your words and your actions can destroy another, you start to look back and you start having panic attacks. Why? Because you start to remember the way that you have damaged somebody else in the past, and it starts to haunt you. Now, a lot of people really, really hate that point. When that happens, they pull back something fierce. Yes, I have met a couple of people that end up struggling in that way. There's one guy where he was trying to cover up for his weaknesses by trying to be big and tough. Greetings, Yasir. How are you doing this day? He ended up spending a lot of time spent a lot of time trying to be the big tough guy. He realized the worldview that he had was devastating, and he tried to shape up, but everything collapsed in a moment because he suddenly felt weak. And so thus, he didn't want to kind of go through with it anymore. And so he pulled back. He no longer wanted to be civil. He wanted to be tough. And in being tough, he suddenly found out that he didn't hurt as much as he used to. But what he didn't tell people is that he still did hurt. He just was in a different way. Doing well, I just got back from work. Huzzah. Do you feel like you had a productive day? Tell you what, when you come back and you feel like you've accomplished something, it is so therapeutic. If only hiking up a mountain was this easy. All right. Indeed. The sound's gone for that. Interesting. So my friend, well, I call him a friend, but after what he did, it was really tough to kind of imagine what he probably was going through. But he wanted to be big and tough, and eventually he got his wish. He was considered big and tough. And then he started to hurt. Then something terrible happened. And because he was big and tough, no one came to his aid. And I remember that realization of just how easy it was for him to... I'm in trouble. That realization that he had of that his attempt to try and overcome all of his hurt by hurting others had backfired. He was no longer considered somebody people wanted to be around. His world had collapsed and no one was there to catch him. Now that's something important. That's why community is so very crucial. If someone stumbles and falls, you need someone to help you back up. Otherwise, it takes a long time to do it yourself. He doesn't want to come out. I don't blame him. Now, the part of the story that I don't think that he even realized was that there were people that he had been tearing apart verbally in his tough guy routine that suddenly kind of rejoiced when he got hurt. No, I'm not a fan of that. I think that is detrimental as well. Kind of does the same thing as what he was doing. But he also didn't realize the people that he had hurt were hurting just as much as he was. It was just the first time that he had experienced it firsthand. So thus, he got very discouraged. But he didn't quite change. I don't know if he has changed, honestly. I hope he has. I very much hope he has. Guess I'll find out one day. Alright, Masay. Ah, there's the chicken again. Actually, this kind of goes along with what I was saying. There was a Japanese friend of mine whose father tore into him. He was cruel in that sense. He just verbally tore into his son. His son was not the brightest kid out there, I will admit that. But he didn't deserve what he got. Basically, he became an outcast. He was in Japan, and his father didn't want anything to do with him. The reason why was because his kid was a handful. And so to try and toughen him up, the father used the tough guy routine to try and teach him, try and educate him on how to become thick-skinned. What he didn't know was that he was so tough with him on that his son broke. Now, how do I know that? Because I got to see the broken man. Sent overseas, cast aside, and basically told don't return until you are better off. Now, some men would see that as a challenge. Not everyone's built that way. And rather than heal, his son went down a much more difficult path of doubt and kind of self-destructive behaviors. And to my knowledge, he eventually recovered, but he was never quite as, it wasn't quite as good as one would prefer. I wish that he had been given a little bit more grace in his time of being low, especially when his father should have been fairly involved with that. His father was part of tearing him down, and his father was not there to help build him back up. Now, we all are in that role. We all have that chance to tear down and build back up. Some people more than others. I think the more famous you are, the more of a role you actually play, even if it doesn't seem like that. That's one of the big problems I had with some streamers. That's why I had such a big problem with them trying to tear each other down, because they didn't realize that some of their own members were in a tough bind. And there they were, for the fun of it, tearing each other apart. They gotta get thick-skinned anyway. If they can't take a joke, well, we're gonna help train them so they can take a joke. Okay. So you don't have a problem if I say, I'm going to censor myself, bleep, bleep, you and your bleeping family and all your bleep, bleep sort of stuff that you're doing, and you are the bleepest of the bleeps. Now, if you're to take someone like that, who tears each other apart in that sort of manner, what happens if you come up and say, you know what? I think we have a problem. I think we need to kind of correct the way that we are going through, that we're supporting our team members. We need to make sure we have more kindness in the way that we interact with them. I said something like that, and you know what happened? Venom. Oh my goodness, you would have thought that I had attacked them, like physically attacked them or something like that. They got so mad. The people that were willing to basically cuss each other out in a moment and say all these horrible things, they had one Achilles heel. Their Achilles heel? The truth. Oh, well, everyone knows I don't actually mean that. I think somebody is a bleep, bleep, bleepin'. But oh, tell somebody the truth, and it's like you put sandpaper onto their skin. Rough sandpaper started moving it back and forth really fast, and they're like, this hurts. It's like you took someone from inside a nice, it's like you took somebody and started to put needles into their skin one after another. The first time you're like, oh, that hurts a little bit, but then after a couple, they're like, God, stop it. Truth hurts. Much appreciated there. Yes, dear. So what do you do when you encounter someone like that? Somebody that verbally hates everyone, but secretly doesn't mean it. And somebody who wants to try and encourage and grow. And that's seen as a verbal attack. Well, in the world of civility, you have the ability to kind of move on from that. You're less likely to be swayed by, I did not drive that very well. You're less likely to be swayed by things that mean something, as long as you know it's to try and encourage and grow. Stargirl. Probably disconnected there. But we all have that role to be able to try and help grow one another. And if we become so adverse to wanting to grow, well, that's the most important part of life. You think gaming and cussing each other back and forth is good or encouraging? Very, very destructive sort of stuff. And honestly, very short-lived sort of stuff. You're not going to find I was speaking just a moment ago, but everything died. Okay, how long was that happening? Greetings, Riker. Thanks for the heads up on that. Man, that's the second time today that the mic is cut out on me. My apologies, folks. Don't know why that happened. Here I was telling all these grand stories, only to find out that, well, my bad. That used to be a very regular problem. Fortunately, it's not been as much of a problem, but it still is an issue, of course. That could have been bad. Much appreciated. How are things going with you, Riker? Last night we were, I did some renders. I got the renders done, and they actually turned out pretty decent. And it's encouraging for me because I found that the renders kind of fit together fairly well without a lot of without the need for a whole bunch of edits. So I'm just going to upload that as it is. It's not the hiker. This is the Christmas tree. But it did give me an idea of how to streamline the hiker renders. So that means that tonight I'm going to give the hiker renders another go. See if I can get to work. Rocket boy. I can't aim. Orange Tango. That looks like a bot name. Had a lot of people come through this area. Grab this little fella. Gotta bring it over to this guy right here. I think. Is he right here? Nope, apparently not. I had no idea. Jess knows where this guy needs to go, but I don't. This little fox in a bush spirit thing, which would be at a platform kind of similar to this. Man, this map is not very good resolution. Let me try over there. How's everything on my end? Things are going decent. Greetings there, Bastion. Oof. Uh-oh. It's been a good Christmas break so far, and I got a whole lot of work done yesterday. Man, it was good to feel so productive. And so I hope to be able to get a little bit more done tonight, and well, this afternoon and tonight. I got a project that I've been working on. I'll be showing you all soon. So I'm hoping to get that done relatively soon. And then you all can judge whether or not I was successful. Hey, you freaky mask guy. I'll be back later, says Bastion, after he brought us a dancing cat and dinosaur. Indeed. Is that it? No, it's not. This is a problem. How do I do this? Where's this guy located? Is he up there? I do have health. I can risk this. Ooh, I got a long distance to travel, though. Car, at least. Alright, I have no idea where this guy is. Guess you're with me, little buddy. Wait. Oh, this path looks familiar. Oh, here. Oh. Nope. This was where I was earlier. Can you hire the bot that's supposed to be there? Odd. No one used it yet, did they? Nope. No idea. No idea. I need a new sword. But where to find said new sword? Aha. Well, you have items. Do a barrel roll. Take that, Darth Vader. You tater. Well, that guy hurt himself. He took my car. The villain. That's like stealing someone's horse. Well, no sword. My sword's about ready to break. Which means I can't use it. Rashimase. Oh, hello. Somebody's shooting at me. Oh, it's you from earlier. You were shooting at the other guy. Oh, come on. Good thing this van is indestructible. They do not have the zoom for this. Oh, car. There, now we can close the distance. Where did he go? I would assume down there. I don't think he would have been eliminated. That seems too... Oh, there we go. This guy's got some wicked accuracy. Oh, that's how he's going around. You know, we'll just stay right here. Besides, I need to restart Silverado's radio. Still need to do the loop. It's a very simple piece of code, but oh well. So I was mentioning earlier about how important it is to maintain some civil words because of just how our words can be misinterpreted at times or sometimes taken too literally. especially with our current world, which is all obsessed with not wanting to speak the truth, which is kind of interesting. That's something that they have a problem with over in Japan, and now we in the US are starting to experience the same sort of thing, just in a bit of a reversed way. So in Japan, you have to be polite regardless, and that means that you can't say anything negative. Only thing that you can say negative is about yourself. Now, in American culture, we're starting to take up a different sort of response. You can only praise yourself and you have to tear down everyone else. Very bad mentality, honestly, and makes it tough to be civil in that sort of way, especially if you come across somebody who needs some kindness. I wonder what the next decade will hold for us as a nation. Will we become more civil? Will we become less civil? I think there's an argument for both. I think that we have some parts of our culture that want desperately to become less civil. And we have another part of our culture that desperately wants to become more civil. So half want, so it's like this portion wants to become more off color, and the other one wants to be more honorable. And I think a lot of it is encouraged by our social media. If you had to face somebody and feel the consequences for speaking horrible about them, you wouldn't do that very often. If you said something uplifting and encouraging, and you never saw the fallout, you never saw them improve and grow, would you think that you actually made a difference? I dare say there are many, many times in my past when I got a chance to see somebody actively improve. And I remembered it, and it became a source of encouragement to go out and do the same thing again. But if I never saw that, would I be able would I have the interest in wanting to try again? Join your fella, your buddy over here. I'll leave you with these guys. You'll be safe, little squishy. Sword. Oh, I didn't mean to do that. Shoot. Attacked by two forces. A mask of gold. I don't want it. Saved by a lot of communications. I have to double check here. What is that thing called? Shamisen Sentinel. I'm trying to pronounce it as Japanese, so maybe I got it right, maybe I didn't. It'd be kind of funny to see what the lyrics are to that. Huh. I don't think I've been over there. Go to the far side of the island. I thought for certain I'd been over here, but it really doesn't look familiar. Sword? Nope. Now, this is a bot down here, I'm assuming. Yep, that's a bot. Ooh, a bot with a golden gun. Obviously, he shouldn't be carrying this. It's dangerous. Interesting little bath back here. So I've been hung up on this idea of thinking about the importance of civility because recently I saw it come into play when somebody that I was familiar with mentioned about some of the difficulties they were dealing with. And, oh, there's a sword over here. Wonderful. And they were dealing with people that were very uncivil. And they were verbally assaulted and felt like trash as a result. I can't blame them for that feeling. And it was destroying this person's ability to move forward. The ability to improve and shape up, gone. Because words were destructive. I like to think that one of the best things I can definitely say for the community that we have is that we're an uplifting group. There's some ribbing that takes place, but for the most part, it's civil. We keep a level of courtesy around here, and it is so very rare. The fact that we have that at all is shocking to most people. And we've had some people come through on the occasion that are baffled by this sort of thing. Like, how can you guys be that way? Now, I was in a discussion with somebody who was kind of pointing out how kind of ridiculous it was to be wanting to have a level of civility. But, golly, the storm was further away than I was thinking. He found it strange that there would be a desire for anybody to want to have a place where folks could be civil, especially since he came from a kind of a tough guy background. And so for him, it was all about being toxic. Be toxic because, that means that you're free. Well, sure, you're free. We all have freedom. The Bible tells us we have freedom. And it also warns us that our freedom can be misused and abused. Would we rather use our freedom to do what is good or to do what is selfish? And for what he wanted, for what this guy was wanting, he wanted to kind of be able to lash out in a moment. I'm out of town for a few days, says Rolling Chairs, so unfortunately I won't be able to join today. No worries, sir. Hope you have good travels and that you have a chance to connect with friends and family wherever you are. Or make new friends along the way. King Koala. Good thing this car doesn't get totaled very fast. Like a pack of sharks, cars come out of nowhere and eliminate all of the little fish. Shh, quiet train. I don't want them to know where I went. Visiting my dad and brother for the holidays. Wonderful. Hope it is a blessed time. So he wanted to be toxic. And for him to not be, it was frustrating to him. And so to hear that we actually had a community where we didn't default to that, of wanting to tear each other apart, it was so confusing to him. And I found it actually kind of funny that it was that much of a stumbling block in that sense. Because I don't think about it as being a challenge for people. I think of it as just, being courteous. But for him, it was painful to think about that. Oh, golly. He got the initiative. I gotta reset. Man, that's a lot of gunfire. Somebody's got a lock on. I don't have any health. Oh, hello. You wouldn't happen to have health, would you? Begging your pardon, but please give me some health. said, give me some health, please. That didn't turn out so well. Whoop-de-doo. Now, I have had a couple of times. They're not it's not a ton of times, so I don't claim to be like a counselor or anything. I'm somebody who has life experiences, and that's one of the reasons why I have so many stories. Whenever I have a chance to try and get engaged with something that's taking place, I many times kind of butt in. It's kind of a bit of a problem, you could say. I like knowing what's going on. I'm not nosy. What I am is somebody that when I have the chance to get involved and to learn, I will. So if, kind of like when I was with the streamers, one of them comes in with shouting at the other, and I'm like, okay, I want to know why this is happening. And so, thus, I will listen in. Or another occasion where somebody is having to deal with something, and I'll say, hey, I'll be there to kind of help as needed. I volunteer a lot. And because of that, I also have a lot of times when it backfires. I admit that. But tends to help out more than it backfires. So because of that, I have all sorts of stories that start to come out as a result of it. Life experiences are, you could say, expensive. Because they're expensive because they take time to go through. And I have had that benefit of where especially early on, I was like, I kind of think that I need to know about this. And so I was willing to kind of hold my nose, so to speak, and deal with some pretty big challenges in order to learn the life lesson behind it. Kind of like what I mentioned a while back about building character. Character is something we don't value as much as we used to. But when we are willing to go through the hard things, we come out with a series of blessings that we don't quite understand until after it's happened. For me, it was realizing that, you know what, there are a lot of things taking place in this world that we don't fully understand. But if we just stop and listen to one another, and treat each other in a much better manner, we're more likely to find a solution. And so it would be things like that. I learned by observing people losing their heads and realizing if they just calmed down, they could have solved their problems in a moment. In fact, there were some times when I would see people that, had they just been a little civil, we're not even speaking like being a saint by comparison, we're just talking a little bit of civility, they could have actually completely transformed a bad circumstance into a good one. The reason why? I got to hear the other side, where people that were complaining said, oh, we can't stand this person because they are doing this or this or that. And the guy who they were having problems with, oh golly, purple rock. Don't attack a man when he's fishing, especially a cat. So here's how one of these things went out. There's a guy, he was having a tough time. And these guys and his friends, well, quote friends, were all upset because he was being a nuisance. And they couldn't stand that. Like, why does he have to be so difficult? Now, he had no idea he was being difficult. You know why? Because he assumed, based upon previous interactions with them, that he was doing that which they actually liked. But no one would stop and talk to one another. They instead want to be rude to one another in public, and then they would bash each other behind closed doors. And so these guys had no idea this guy had no idea that people couldn't stand what he was doing, how he was going about it. Then one day they decided that, we've kind of had it. We're just going to go out and we are going to just leave him behind. He should know better. He should obviously know there's a problem. So they left him. You know how that made him feel? Well, they didn't. Why? Because they were the ones that were trying to leave him behind. They were fed up, they were angry, and they just assumed that he would understand. He had no clue. The reason why I know this is because, kind of like what I said earlier about that I put myself into situations just to kind of learn. I saw this guy wasn't doing so well. So I went over and asked him, point blank, hey, things seem to be a little tough for you. What's going on? And then I got to hear his side of the story. And lo and behold, it was a very different worldview of how events were folding out than what his friends were claiming. And his friends believed, because I asked them, that he was intentionally trying to make things difficult for them and sabotage all of their friendships. He had no idea. They had no idea. If they just had a little bit of courtesy, they could have asked one another and figured out the solution. Thus, where I said that sometimes all it takes is getting involved. Well, I got involved, and I found that it actually backfires at times. And that's the part that I didn't quite understand. Sometimes you, oh darn, I forgot the sword. Oh, no, wait. The sword's right here. Wow. I'm dense. So because no one knew what the other one was thinking, because they were afraid to kind of say anything, everyone ended up losing their friendships. There was no chance to heal. Bots are on a rampage. All right, bots, if you calm down. Not quite. All right, we'll try on a different one. There was another moment when I was with the streamers, and one guy was very disliked by a good portion of leadership. They couldn't voice their, well, in their desire to want to kind of behave uncivil-like, they decided that the best thing to do for somebody that they were having an issue with was to intentionally make him so irritated, so pained, they just outright left. And he didn't, even though they tried desperately to get rid of him. How do I know? Because I was I was chosen to be in a leadership role, even though they very much regretted that the very moment that they started doing that, and they started trying to find ways to backtrack on that. And what ended up happening is they were very upset with this fella, and they finally had it. And so when he was at his lowest, they tried to break him and make sure that he was put in danger. I would find it interesting to find out if what his thoughts were behind that, because I couldn't really hear after that point because he became very shut out. He shut out a lot of people. But the one time I did get to speak to him, he was broken. And I've mentioned him before. He was broken. He was in tears. And he wouldn't let anybody else see it. And for whatever reason, he let me see it. Probably is because I actually asked him. If somebody else had asked him, I think he probably would have told him something similar. He just needed a friend. He needed somebody that was there for him. Especially when people were intentionally trying to sabotage him. Now, he ended up having to travel the following day, and they intentionally made it so he had a hard time sleeping. So messed up. I didn't know really what was happening until it's kind of too late. But you know what? If I had been more engaged early on, I think I would have known what was happening. And I think I would have actually been able to offer a solution. There was a lack of communication. And as such, everybody's tempers were high, and everyone started turning on each other. They will never be friends at this point. They all hate each other. And if it doesn't feel like it, it's because they're in public. Behind the scenes, they hate each other. At least some of them hate the others. And they will do all sorts of things to try and shame and ridicule and destroy the reputation of one another so that they can try and climb over the other's carcass, so to speak. It's not a way to live. It's not a way to behave. Okay. Come back here. I messed that one up. Phooey. Oh, he perished. Ouch. That Hoyt. Oh, I'm low on health. Huzzah. And he brought me a sword. What a lovely gesture. Thank you. Apology accepted. You know, for trying to gut me like a fish. This is going pretty well. Watch everything fall apart in a moment. You know, asking for clarity doesn't always need to be an insulting situation. When you have a difference of opinions, it doesn't have to end up in a fight. And that's something with this idea of having communication and showing some courtesy in how you communicate, why it's so important. It doesn't need to be a fight. And the more that it becomes a fight, the less likely you are to find a solution. A lot of people, they'll fight because they want people to realize that they mean business, that they are not going to because if you show that you mean business, then you're less likely to get people to want to compromise. They'll just say, "Oh yeah, you're right," because they're afraid of dealing with your anger. And that's something I can't stand. It's like, people, you do realize everybody has their wants and desires. We all can't have it. Someone's got to compromise. Well, it's going to be the other guy because I don't want to compromise. Yeah, well, maybe he thinks the same thing. Then you're going to get nowhere. Well, it's the question of who's going to break first. That's not healthy. That's not a good way to live. In fact, that's a devastating way to live. And the more you do live like that... Oh, that's weird, it didn't shoot me in the air. The more you do live like that, the more people are not going to want to work with you. So with the YouTubers, when they did stuff like that, they weren't showing that they knew their stuff. They were showing that they couldn't be reasoned with. Fear somebody that cannot be reasoned with. And that's a dangerous position to be in. Oh, this is like Hello Kitty. Oh, this Umai. Look at that. I've not been in this area before. Oh, I messed that up. Darn it. Should have let him be. Oh, he went down too. Interesting. Well, here's something to consider with when it comes to finding like a common ground and working with folks. Be able to find a way to to have some peace with what you're doing. A lot of people claim to know what compromise is, while at the same time not understanding the bare basics of it. Now, if you were to ask some people, they'll say compromise is, I'll acknowledge your dislike, but we're still going to do things my way. That's not compromise. Compromise is saying, okay, let's list our wants and desires. Okay. Now let's go forth and pick one thing that we want from our list to do. And then we will accept that the next person may choose something we don't want to do. That's compromise. If you don't have a desire to compromise, well, then it just becomes an arguing fest. And you never are going to be happy. If you can compromise and say, okay, I'll do this thing that you want, but you kind of have to do what this thing I kind of want. A lot of people will throw a fit about that. I've noticed it, especially in young kids, but when I see it in full-grown adults, that's why I'm like, that's pretty sad. If you can't compromise, then it means that you never have quite understood the importance of looking after someone else's needs rather than yourself. That was close. To be an adult is to say, all right, I'm not a fan of having to do X, Y, or Z, but I'm willing to do it because someone else needs it. If you have a kid, that's very important because you have to sacrifice for your kid. And if you can't compromise in the here and the now, then when you have a kid, it's going to be all the more difficult to compromise. Because suddenly you're going to have to deal with somebody who doesn't understand the word no. And it's like, oh, dang. The kid doesn't want to do what I want to do. You learn fast when you're in that position. And if you're somebody who's observant, like myself, then you start to learn by seeing other people struggle with it. Now you learn faster when you do it yourself, but you also can learn in the here and the now by just observing and realizing, you know what? People are going to need to compromise, whether they're with family or whether they're at work, whether they are famous or whether they're not. Everybody's going to have to compromise. No one should get everything that they want. If they do, well, you're probably going to have somebody who ends up being a bit arrogant and not somebody you really want to be around. Based upon time, I think we're going to do one more full game after this game. Probably just call it at that. It was interesting to try an earlier time slot. I don't know how often that's going to happen. Probably not often at all. But wanted to give it a shot. That dog should have known not to mess with a cat. Where'd he shoot from? Right here, take a pot shot. No shots. Kimono. Dang, that hurt. That's really bad. That guy had a lock on. Oh, golly. Alright, we're gonna do one last round. Call it there. Last full round, of course. Just a second, gotta check this thing out. Oh, fancy. Piff. You gotta spray paint, which I never use. Oh, I can't do it now. Oh, boo-hoo. All right, now we go back in. Just a second, while that loads up, I'll be right back. Just a reminder, we'll be doing community games tomorrow evening. The reverse of what we're doing now. This is our early time, and that will be our later time. A lot of people dropped out here. Gotta be careful. Means I need a sword to even the odds. There is a sword usually right here. That's a problem. There's usually a sword right there. I guess they are random. Phooey. No face in the void. No sword. Phooey. That reminds me of when they removed the hammers from gameplay. And I was looking high and low for hammers, only to find out that they had gotten rid of them without anybody knowing. Well, they got rid of them earlier, and they didn't really give a very good reason as to why. Because they had been working just a few moments beforehand. You seem like a bot. Hollywood. Oh no! Come on, bike, you're made for a mountain. Totally logical. Yeah, that was close. Hey, run away, you coward. I don't have the bullets to take that thing down. What fancy stunts. Ooh, my bad. I need bullets anyway. I'm not going to be able to take him down with this. Ha 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 ha. It's almost down. I'm all out of bullets. And stay away. Bullets. Oh, 118. Hokey smokes, we're going back. Oh, you can't even aim. You're not the guy from earlier. You're someone new. I think. Well. Oof. Fail. Whoa, 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 whoa. I don't want to be shooting at you right now. So don't you be shooting at me. Okay, I'm ready to start shooting. I'm missing horribly. Well, you were missing horribly too, so we had a commonality in that. Ooh, what do you have? Well, I will take that. heard somebody. Was that the bot? Nope. Could be somebody else. There we go. Oh no! Oh golly. Well, I think we might as well bring it to a close there. We're ending early, but it's probably going to be for the best. Okay, I need to go and work on projects now. This is going to be, actually, I'll do a little bit of transition over here, but anyway, I have some projects I need to really be working on. Have a very pleasant afternoon and evening, everybody, and morning if you you're over in the Asian area, but we will see you all next time. We're probably going to be back later on tonight with more animation, and we'll be back tomorrow with more community games, which hopefully will work out. It's a better time for folks. I know today, new time, probably not the best time slot, but wanted to give it a shot and see what happens. But anyway, I will see you all next time. Until then, folks, have a very pleasant evening.